Two of the most dangerous creatures in the dark, murky waters, alligators and snapping turtles. The only thing missing from this family with jaws of steel is the shark. But who needs a shark when you have a giant mutant like the alligator snapping turtle? If this movie was a murder mystery, he would surprise you at the very end because he doesn't go out of his way. He waits patiently for his next victim. Just don't get in his way, because you'll be his next victim. Yeah, that's right, the alligator snapping turtle. And I think it's something we should talk about. So without any more delay, welcome to Unseen Universe. The alligator snapping turtle is a very large species of turtle. The species is native to freshwater habitats in the United States. Not only is it one of the heaviest freshwater turtles in the world, but without a doubt, it is the all-around largest freshwater species of turtle in North America and is often associated with, but is actually not closely related to the common snapping turtle. The alligator snapping turtle, or we'll nickname him AST for short, is found primarily in fresh waters of the southern parts of the United States. It's found from the Florida Panhandle west to East Texas, western Kentucky, Louisiana, and even western Tennessee. Typically, only nesting females venture onto open land for any period of time. The alligator snapping turtle, or AST, is given this common name because of its immensely powerful jaws and distinct ridges on its shell that are similar in appearance to the rough, rigid skin of an alligator. They are generally found only in bodies of water that flow into the Gulf of Mexico, and usually not in isolated wetlands or ponds. A study found that the AST prefer places with canopy-style covers, overhanging trees, shrubs, dead submerged trees, and beaver dens. Basically, they like to keep a low profile. The average home range for the AST is about 750 meters, or around 800 yards. A more detailed characterized description for the alligator snapping turtle is large, heavy head, and long, thick shell with 3 ridges of large scales, giving it a primitive appearance reminiscent of familiar plate-protected dinosaurs. It can be immediately distinguished from the common snapping turtle by the 3 distinctive rough rows of spikes and raised plates on the shell, whereas the common snapping turtle has a smooth area. Breeding age is around 180 pounds, but the species continues to grow throughout its life. Excluding some of the more exceptionally large groups of AST, adults generally grow to about 3 feet and 200 pounds. Males are typically larger than females. The base of the male is thicker compared to the female because of its hidden reproductive organs. Maturity is reached around 12 years of age. Mating takes place yearly in early spring in the southern parts and later spring in the northern parts of their habitats. About 2 months later, the female builds a nest and lays a clutch of 10 to 50 eggs. It was discovered that some females lay eggs every other year instead of yearly. For the alligator snapping turtle, higher temperatures produce males in the batch. Nests are typically born at least 50 yards from the water's edge to prevent them from being flooded and drowned. Incubation takes from 100 to 140 days, and hatchlings emerge in the early fall. As for their hunting prowess and lethal physical attributes, the inside of the AST's mouth is camouflaged and possesses a worm shape on the tip of its tongue, which is used to lure fish. That's amazing, but let's take it a little further, because this turtle must be handled with extreme care and should be considered very dangerous. The alligator snapping turtle can bite through the handle of a broom, and there's even reports of them cleanly slicing through and biting off human fingers. The AST is an opportunistic feeder that is basically carnivorous. It relies on catching live food and even at times eating dead organisms. It pretty much will eat anything it can catch. Its natural diet consists primarily of fish carcasses, mollusks, amphibians, which are much easier to catch in abundance, but it's also known to eat snakes, water birds, and even other turtles. These guys have pretty big appetites. In a study conducted in Louisiana, 80% of the stomach contents of the adult alligator snapping turtles in the studied area were found to be composed of other turtle species. Although the resistance of shell and reptile bone fragments to digestion may have led these fragments to remain longer in the digestive system, the fact that they're able to break those parts down and consume them at all is mind-blowing. The AST may also, at times, prey on small mammals like possums, raccoons, and armadillos when these animals attempt to swim or come to the water's edge. In other words, stay away from these guys. The alligator snapping turtle seems to hunt most at night, but it also hunts in the day as well. By day, it may try to attract fish and other prey by sitting quietly at the bottom of the murky waters and letting its jaws hang open, revealing their worm-like tongue, luring the prey into striking distance, closing with tremendous speed and force to execute the hunt. The AST is most vulnerable to predators before and shortly after hatchings. The eggs can be eaten by birds or mammals, but the risk of predators decrease greatly as this species gets bigger, so the adult has very few real predators. Fun fact is that the most well-known predator is the northern river otter. But slow down. Before you go on a rant about how tough this guy is, only to be eaten by otters, upon further review, they only have real success with the young alligator snapping turtles. So once again, I think it's pretty safe to say these guys are a pretty big deal in their neck of the woods. Now, some states have imposed bans on collecting the alligator snapping turtle from the wild. The IUCN, or International Union for Conservation of Nature, lists them as a threatened species due to vulnerability of extinction because of human hunters and collectors. And when it comes to nature, man strikes again. But left to its own resources in nature, the stories as well as its image just continues to grow. So much to the point that it's even been said that a 403-pound alligator snapping turtle was once discovered in the wild in Kansas City in 1937. But the largest one on record is debatable. One weighed at the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago tipped the scale at 249 pounds, while another at the Brookfield Zoo came in at 236 pounds. But reportedly, the king of the scales, as far as the zoologists are concerned, nearly broke the scale at 298 pounds. Though the species generally doesn't get that large, it's more than capable of exceeding the statistical average growth expectancy. And although the ATS is believed to be capable of living up to 200 years, the average age of 80 to 120 years is more likely, with their lifespan average in captivity plummeting down to between 20 and 70 years, which is hardcore proof that they definitely don't belong in captivity. I mean, really, what can I say? I think this episode is pretty self-explanatory and downright jaw-dropping, unless you have jaws of steel. And who would have known unless you're tuning into Unseen Universe, where seeing is believing. I want to thank everyone for their support. We really do appreciate you guys. And as always, see you next time.